180% would qualify as one of the percents that is greater than 100. And yes, 180% is a possibility. You can have percents that are greater than 100. What you'll be asked to do is to put these percents into not only decimals, but also fractions. Decimal works the same way. Anytime we convert a percent to a decimal, we'll move it 2 places to the left. So we should have 1.8. Do you need the 0? Is it wrong if you put the 0? It's not wrong if you put the 0, but 1.8. And which should make sense because 100%, it's like saying I got the one whole assignment correct. The whole thing was right. More than that would mean you had the whole thing plus more. Okay, so percents usually measure a value that's less than 1. If it's over 100, it'll be more than 1. Now, fraction, anytime we have a percent, we start off by putting it over 100. From there, we can put it into a mixed number. How many times does 100 go into 180? Once 80 would be left over, becomes 1 4/5. Yep. It's greater than 100. No, we'll get to some that are less than 1. These are just examples of ones that are greater. Try 130. Decimal. First we get 1.3, and as a fraction, 1 and 3. Good. 452% would also qualify as something that's greater than 100. The decimal, if we always remember to go 2 places, that's not that big of a deal. The fraction here, however, again, started off with something like 100. But instead of 100 going into it once, in this particular case, it'll go 4. Okay. They both have 4 in common, which should give us 13.25. Okay, so it's just a matter of chopping down the fraction once you get there. But step by step is going to make it easiest. Any questions on fractions that are greater than 100? What do you do if they ask you to do the opposite? For example, they give you a mixed number like 2 and 29/50, and they want to know what percent that is. Any suggestions? Yeah. Caleb? So put it as an improper fraction? Is there a quicker way? We could, but then you might have to do what? I have to multiply this times this, add this. Is there even a quicker way? What does a 2 represent? 200%, right? If I know that that's 200%, I'm going to add it to whatever 29/50 is as a percent. Then I don't have to touch any improper fractions. Just keep this part as is. Times 2 times 2 becomes 58. So if I add 58 to the already 200 I have, I should get 258%. If I separate these, if I separate those two, and say, you know what, I know that this 2 is 200%. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that down. I'm going to focus on this regular fraction right here and say, okay, compare it to another fraction over 100. 29/50 is 58%. So I take this 58%, I add it to the already 200 I have, and get 258. Now your first suggestion wouldn't have been wrong if you would have gone 100, 2 times 50 is 100, and gone 129 over 50. That's fine too. Compared to another fraction of 100, multiply this times 2 and this times 2, you're still going to get 250. So it's a matter of preference, really. There's no one way to do it. Okay? Yeah, absolutely. Try. I'm going to give you one that's a little easier, and I'll give you one that's a little trickier. So the easier one first. 3 and 7/20ths, and then the other one, 2 and 3/8. Any suggestions? How did we come up with the first one? What was your method? What did you do? Yeah. So you found out that the 3 meant 300, right? And then you compared the 7 over 20 to something over 100 and found out that times 5 and times 5 gives you 35, so you added 35 and got 335. Yes? Okay. Anyone do it the other way where they put this into an improper fraction? Could have. Okay. Now here, this one. The trick here is the 3/8. I know that the 2 is going to, we'll put that 200% kind of in the bank and just kind of add it on later. But if I'm going to compare a 3/8 to something over 100, to find out what percent that is, I go through my steps, right? 8 to 100, is there a relationship? No. Can I simplify 3 over 8? No, it's already in simplest form, which leaves me the only option is to do what? So let's cross multiply and divide. So 300 divided by 8, right? So this is going to give me a decimal. 8 into 30 is 3 times. And that's into 60 would be 7, is 56. And then into 40 is 5. So what I got is 200 plus a 37.5 total would be 37.5%. Sure. Does it make sense though? So it's not. So you're confident getting another one, you should be able to figure it, right? So I kind of did a little bit for us already with the 3 is 300, right? 5 over 12 is equal to something over 100, so we're going to have to do a little dividing. 12 into 50, we say 4. 12 into 20 is only 1. Okay. 12 into 80 becomes 6. And that's what, 72? So again, it's 80, which is going to be 6. Now, if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, here is my 10th place. I don't need to keep going. I could probably figure that this is going to be repeating. But I'm going to look at that number in the 100th place anyway and say, that number is big enough to change that 6. So that 6 is now going to become a 7. So what I really have here is 41.7. 41.7 already added on to my 300 is 341.7%. You still got to get to less than 1. These are still greater than 100. You got to get to less than 1. So we wasted all this time. You know, like, I understand I had computer issues for like a couple minutes. Well, you're not helping when it takes us forever to get started because we're just... Take a look at a couple of these other ones. Yep. Same general concept. Just now so now we have a tenth of a percent. So not even 1%, a tenth of a percent. So first thing, let's convert it to a decimal. Again, 2 places to the left. So it's going to be 0.001. 1, 2. I'm going to have to put that in. Okay. Now as a fraction, always start with what it is over 100, right? But the problem here is that I can't have a decimal in the fraction. You remember how we fixed this yesterday? If I need to make this a whole number, I'm going to do so by moving the decimal 1 place to the right. If I move it 1 place to the right up top, I also have to move it 1 place to the right at the bottom. I'm going to have 1 over 1,000. Is that in simplest form? Yeah. In this particular case, there's nothing else that we got. This, again, less than 1, move the decimal 2 places to the left, and as a decimal, this is 0.0075. 2 places. So now I'm going to start off fraction form by doing what? Putting what it is right now, 0.75 over what? 100. That's where we start. Once that's done, I need to eliminate the decimal by moving it how many places? 2 to the right. If it's 2 to the right on top, it has to be 2 to the right on the bottom. So now add 2 zeros. Now we're working with 75 over 10,000. Simplify. Right now. 75 over 10,000. Simplify. Just like a big tree. Start hacking away. Okay, so relationship, Mia? From 400 to 100? Divide by what? 4. So divide the 1 by the 4. What is 1/4? Right? Or if you chose to cross multiply, was 400 divided by, or 100 divided by 400, you can do that too, right? You had this set up and said, oh, 100 divided by 4. Either way. Okay. Six dash 3